Hello everyone, welcome back to TechWithAlok. This is session 4 of our free certified Kubernetes Administrator CKA course 2026, where we are learning Kubernetes from beginner to expert. This is completely free of cost. If your dream is to become a DevOps engineer, cloud engineer, platform engineer, or to crack the CKA certification, then this course is designed for you. In the previous session, we learned why Docker was created and the famous quote that we normally hear in the IT industry, it works on my machine problem. So that we discussed in the last session. And we also discussed about the Docker and the virtual machines. But today we are moving from theory to practice. Today you will install Docker on your machine, understand how Docker works internally, and run your very first Docker container. By the end of this session, you will not only know how to install Docker, but you will also understand what actually happens behind the scenes when you run your first container. And trust me, once you understand today's session, the upcoming Kubernetes topics will become much easier. So make sure you watch this video until the end, because every concept we cover today is going to be used throughout this course. So before we begin, I have a small request. If you are enjoying the free CKA course and finding it useful, please take just 1 second to hit the like button. Let's make the target of this video reach 50 likes. That small click motivates me to create high quality content completely free for all of you, and I would love to know who's learning with me. Try to comment below which city or which country you are watching from, and are you planning for CKA, DevOps interview, or just learning your Docker and the Kubernetes journey. I personally read every comment, and your feedback helps me make this course even better. Now let's get started. So what happens when we type Docker run? Suppose I type Docker run nginx. What actually happens? Does Docker magically knows everything? No. Many things happens in the background. What actually happens? Does Docker magically knows everything? No. Many things happens behind the scene. Let's understand them one by one. I have placed one architecture diagram of the Docker. By the end of this video, every box in the diagram will make complete sense to you. Let's understand the Docker client at first. Let's understand from the real life example. Imagine ordering food from Zomato. Do you directly talk to the restaurant chef? No, right? You use a mobile phone, open the app, and you try to make the order, and the app sends a request to the restaurant, right? Similarly, Docker client works exactly like that. Docker run nginx or Docker ps, those commands first go to Docker client. Docker client simply forwards your request, and it does not create any container. It does not download any images. It only communicates with the Docker daemon. Docker daemon. Now let's understand what the Docker daemon does. So the Docker daemon is the brain of the Docker. Think of a restaurant. Customer places an order. Waiter takes the order, and chef prepares the food. Docker client is the waiter. Docker daemon is the chef. The daemon is responsible for creating containers, managing images, let me write it down here. responsible for Docker daemon. Creating containers, managing images, managing networks, managing volumes, downloading images, starting containers and stopping containers. So everything happens here, it is managed by the Docker daemon. Now the next component, we have the hub. Now suppose Docker daemon receives the request from the client as Docker run nginx. Then it asks to the Docker hub, do we already have the nginx image? If yes, that's great. Then the container to be started. If not, the Docker automatically contacts to Docker hub. So Docker hub is nothing, it's just an online image repository. Think about the Google Play Store or iOS App Store. Whenever you need any app, you go there, download that app, and you run in your phone. Similarly, Docker daemon connects to the Docker hub. If the image presents locally within the Docker system, it runs that container with that image. If the image does not present there, then it goes to the centralized repository, it pulls that image and then start running into it. So then the image to be downloaded and it start running the system. Then the image to be downloaded, explain the complete flow. Developer types Docker run nginx. Docker client receives command. Docker client sends the request to Docker daemon. Docker daemon checks that image. If image does not exist, Docker hub will download that image. Docker daemon creates the container and the container starts. And whatever the application is present inside the container, that application will be started as well. So that's all the Docker does. Now switch to the terminal. So this is my machine, Ubuntu 22.04. So let's start to updating the package list. Alright, so we have 7 packages which were remaining to upgrade. So it is upgraded now. Now we will install the Docker engine. Docker io.y. So we just pass the -y as a flag. So whenever it asks certain during installation, it asks some packages, so automatically to be yes. Right, now our Docker engine is installed correctly. Let's type docker -v. Alright, now we have the Docker version now we have the Docker version 29.1.3. Let me just correct the right command. So it enables the Docker, and to start the service, instead of enable, just type yes, or else let's check the status first. So we are seeing the service is active. Okay, now we have engine. So now let's type docker info, and this command provides a detailed version about the Docker engine, including storage drivers, server version, and available resources. Let's type docker images. So we see here there is no image. Can you tell me why there is no image? Because we have not run our first container yet. So let's run our first container, docker run hello world. Let me run it using the sudo permissions. So, okay. Now let me type docker ps. Run our first docker container, docker run hello world. Alright, so what happens in the background? Docker client receives the request from the developer. I'm here as a developer sending the command to the Docker. So Docker client receives the request. Docker daemons check the image in the background, the image locally exists or not. So if it is exist, then it runs it directly from the system. Let's type docker images. Alright, we see here we have a one image present here, docker hello world image exists. And if we see and if we check our running containers, we will see here there is no container running. But why? Because the hello world exists after completing its tasks. If we want to see, we can see by typing this command. You can say we ran 2 times the hello world, it is exited after completion of its tasks. If you see here, when we run this container, so the container purpose is to just download the image and run it in the terminal itself. But if we want to go inside the container, so let's run the interactive container, docker run -it Ubuntu bash. Now you are seeing it send the request to the Docker daemon. If it's checking the image locally present or not, there is no present, then it pull the image from the Docker hub, and once the image is pulled completely, then it ran that image. Now we are inside the container itself. Active flag that we gave here -it, the container started and we are inside the container. If we type ls, we will see all the directories present inside the container itself. If we type pwd, we will see at which location we currently are here. If I type host name, you will see the host name is 2388. So this is the container, we are inside it. If we want to check the OS release of this container, let's see etc. So you will see here, so this is the pretty name of this image. This is Ubuntu 26.04 long-term stable version. Name of that image, the OS is Ubuntu, and the version that they have mentioned here is 26.04. So this is a Linux environment running inside the container. So now exit it from the container. Now we are exited and we came our original terminal. Alright, now let's summarize everything that we learned today. So at first place, we understood the Docker architecture, and the components of the Docker architecture, which are the Docker client, Docker daemon, Docker hub, image downloading process, container created after downloading the image, and the application runs once the container starts itself. So in the next session we will learn one of the most important Docker topics and which are necessary for the CKA series. If you enjoyed today's session, please hit the like button and subscribe TechWithAlok. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them, and share this free CKA series with your friends, with your colleagues, those who are preparing for this Kubernetes, Docker and the DevOps interviews. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next session. Until then, keep learning, keep practicing and keep growing.